This video, I'm going to look at vendors demonstrated in QuickBooks. When you're running a business, that's the way you keep track of people you pay is through a vendor list. Now at the top drop down there's vendors and a vendor center. You can also enter bill and pay bills. We'll get to that in another video. I'm just going to generally review vendors, kind of like I reviewed customers. The list, the database of vendors. Here's the vendor center. I have none. So whether it be rent, a utility at your office, virtually anyone you pay for any reason is generally going to end up under a vendor. So new vendor, and this is the drop down, new vendor. I will call this office rent. Of course it would be a company I'd be paying. That'd be the vendor name, and it usually is the same as the company name. It's usually a good way to go by it. You remember it, and you find it quicker in your list. Now, they automatically put the name down here like in the customer or the vendor. Down here you have the name, and then you would put an address. I'm not going to bother to do that. And with a vendor, I don't often use the shipped from, so I'll leave that alone from now. This is just a general look. Office rent, payment settings. If you have an account number, you'd put that there. And I'll cover this in another video, but when you pay a bill and you use a check, there's a memo area on the check where it prints out. This number would print there every time. So if I put that number, whoever company rents an office to my business and I pay rent, if they give me a number, an account number, I can put it there. Now if it's a company that, or a vendor that uses account numbers and or invoices, when you enter the bill is where you would put the specific invoice you're paying. I'll get to that another time. Payment terms. I'm going to put net 30 because a lot of things are net 30. But you'd put whatever your vendor is. So it will default to that every time you enter a bill. Print name on check as. In some cases I have seen it where a vendor has you write the name to something else. I've seen a credit card or a store card where it's got a name but you write the check payable to someone else. This is where you can change that to whatever it is they want. Tax settings, you can put if there's someone who you'd give a 1099 to, you can check that here and then put their federal tax ID in right here, and it's saved. Then at the end of the year when you do 1099s, it just comes out on the report. This is where you can automatically put a default expense account depending on what kind of vendor this is. I usually just do that when I enter the bill. Maybe I'll touch on this later. Again, this is basically just how you enter a vendor for someone a company that your business would pay. Again, I used a rent as an example. You might have water delivered to your office, like the big 5-gallon jugs or something, once a month. You might go buy things from an office supply store. While I personally don't write checks like that anymore, use a credit card or a check card, sometimes it's nice to have them as a vendor, so you can track where you buy things from. So this is just, the first tab here is the address, name and address, and the contact information for this vendor. Payment settings, tax settings, account settings. You just hit OK. Now you have a vendor. Now once you've got your vendor entered, and I'll do another video on entering a bill, but just to show real quick, vendor, enter bill. When you start typing, once you start typing it'll bring it up. You'd put your date, and then it comes up, and you can choose your expense account. The vendor's already in here. It defaulted to the net 30 for the terms due in 30 days from the date of the bill, so you can track your due date and pay your bills on time. And there's your vendor. The address and name would show up here. And you always double check it, but then you'd save and close, and you have a vendor and a bill. And I'm not going to save this. So that's just a basic look at vendors when you're running a business. How you can do this in QuickBooks is keep track of your vendors, who you pay, how you pay them. I'll be doing videos in the future again on how to enter a bill, how to enter a credit card bill, and how it all works together with expense and income and chart of accounts. So thanks for watching. You can subscribe and keep checking back. Thank you.